Morning. But yeah, we started during COVID. We started in John. So we've done John, Acts, Revelation, Genesis, and now Matthew.
Awesome.
And so on the catch for these studies, as I said, when we pick the next book, I always say we have to pick a book I've taught before, so all my notes are in it. As I said, I don't do any extra studying for these.
That's just cheating, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Matthew what? Where are we?
24. We are in Matthew 24. And let's see here. Should have I wonder if I can still do it. No, I can't. I should have tagged you. Oh, let's put this thing on here.
Oh, that's all right.
All right. We are finishing up the chapter. Let's see here. Reading. Interesting. All right. So we have in verse 45, who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master made ruler of his household, to give them food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Surely I say to you that he will make him ruler over all his goods. But if that evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, and begins to beat his fellow servants, to eat and drink with the drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day when he is not looking for him, and at an hour that he is not aware of, and will cut him in two, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And so, yesterday we started off, and this is really kind of just a continuation of how we concluded yesterday. And so, maybe I could have taken some of yesterday and moved it today, or vice versa. But, in short, is just talking about waiting. Actually, I'm looking at some interesting things here. It's just talking about being ready and serving when the Lord comes. That He finds us doing what we ought to be doing and not wasting our time. Not wasting our blood-bought time doing all these other things when we could be serving Him. And, I will flip over just because I like the pair. And maybe today will be real short, because in some ways, maybe I should have just continued our text. But he's talking about people not beating his fellow servants. You don't want to have dad find you beating up your brothers and sisters when he comes home. You get in trouble for that. Eating and drinking with the drunkards. So it's just kind of like living life as if, well, I'll get right later kind of an attitude. Luke 21, as we've said a few times, but repetition is the best way to learn. Luke 21 is not the Olivet Discourse. This is the temple discourse that takes place right before the Olivet Discourse. But he says similar things as he closed up that message. And he does the fig tree. He tells them that the generation will not pass away. And then the closing verses of Luke 21. Good parallel. He says, but take heed, verse 34, to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and cares of this life, and that day come on you unexpectedly. And so it tells you that don't let this day come up unexpectedly, doing all this other stuff, and then, oh, Jesus returns, and it's like, well, wait 1 second. I had a few things I was going to try and do before you came back. And it says, for it'll come as a snare on all those who dwell on the whole face of the whole earth. And so, again, everyone else is going to be surprised by this. You guys shouldn't be surprised by this. Watch therefore and pray always, that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. And this is where in Luke it then closes mentioning that he's in the temple, and by night he'd go out to Olivet, which is where he'd do the Mark 13 and Matthew 24. But notice in verse 36, it's one of my favorite promises to jump and look at he says that you can escape all these things. And he just talked about the end times. He was just talking about, you know, the sun, moon, and stars, the distress, the perplexity, men's hearts failing. I was looking back at like verses 25 and 6. And Jesus says that we can escape all these things. Now this is like Revelation 3:10, where it tells us, well, it tells the church of Philadelphia that because they've kept his command and persevered, that he's going to keep them from the hour of trial, which will come upon the whole world. And so we have these promises that you can avoid all these things. And I like how in Luke it adds, you could escape all these things and to stand before the Son of Man. It means to be found standing. Histemi. It's a specific word that actually means to place something, like I place this cup right here. I don't believe the word would work for like a tree that is standing over there. It's really something that has been placed in a place, and that's where it now stands. You would talk about a candlestick. You would histemi, set that on the top of something so it could be seen. And so that's the idea, is that it'll come to pass that you will be standing before Jesus instead of facing the trials that are going to come upon the whole world. Now that's a beautiful promise, and it's absolutely true. Escape all these things, be standing before Jesus. But backing up where we were in Matthew, notice the big emphasis he makes though. Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. And that's the big key for all of us, is that if Jesus returns, will he find us serving? Will he find us giving? Will he find us praying? Will he find us doing these things that we know we ought to be doing? And obviously he might show up while you're sleeping, right? I mean, it's not about literally what are you doing the moment of his return, but what has been your pattern that you have established. And patterns only take, well, must take time and repetition. It's not something you can just quickly do the second you see him coming. And that was his big emphasis. The whole, behold, I come quickly, right? In Revelation, that Greek word is the same word that we get tachometer from, right? Which shows you the RPMs on your engine. It's the speed of his coming, not necessarily the timing of his coming. And so he always talks about, as lightning comes from the east to the west, he speaks of, my return will be so quick and sudden, you will have no opportunity to right any wrongs once I come. The moment you know I'm coming, all bets are off. And so we have to be those servants who are just faithful. We have to be plodders. We plod along, slowly doing the stuff we know we ought to be doing, and we stay faithful in it. So, rather than try and take on the virgins and the talents and all that other stuff, we'll save those ones for next week. So that said, I kept today shorter. I've been going like 20 minutes every day, so I kept it a little short and sweet. God bless you guys. I'll see you guys around. And keep on plodding, keep on serving, because you don't know the hour when he comes. Come on, Judah, you can lean your head in. There you go. You can say hi to everybody. Good? Good. See you guys. It's a long way away. I can reach it. Say hi, Benny. Hi.